Welcome back to an all-new interview for you on the YouTube Power Hour podcast. I'm Erika Vieira, and this week I had the pleasure of interviewing beauty YouTube creator Elle Leary. Now, Elle has been on the platform for almost 8 years, and she's sharing basically what she learned about being on YouTube for so long, and truly how she was able to transform her channel to reveal her more authentic self. She also talked about how she's embracing the over 40 makeup niche and what she's doing on her channel, all about that. So if you're new here, welcome. Every single week I upload a new interview for you where I peel back the curtain to reveal what it really takes to be successful on YouTube. So comment below. Are you a beauty YouTuber? Do you have a beauty YouTube channel? Or do you just have a YouTube channel that you're looking to start? And make sure you subscribe for new interviews every single week. Mwah. Well, hello, Elle. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you also. And so why don't you share with our listeners and our viewers here on YouTube, what inspired you to get onto YouTube and essentially kind of the Cliff Notes version of your YouTube journey so far?
Well, yeah, it's a long one, so I will condense it down.
Okay.
I've been a celebrity-based makeup artist for over 14 years, and when I lived in LA, I now live in Colorado. It kind of was towards the end of that 14 years, and I wanted to connect with people on a real-life basis. I really enjoy educating. I really enjoy communicating and touching people's lives and hearing people's stories. And so that was kind of one of my very good friends who's no longer on YouTube. He said to me, well, I do hair. Why don't you do makeup and we'll start it together? Or he'd already been on there, but I'll help you. So basically I just wanted to connect that way. I've also been working with brands for God knows how long. And it was just a really great way for me just to share my passion and really, again, relate with people kind of on a real human level. And again, this was 8 years ago before this really was a thing. When I used to tell people, they'd be like, what are you doing? That's not really a job. And kind of just through the whole thing, it's been there with my daughter. I had my daughter 5 years ago, and I really didn't find my niche until about, I would say 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, where I really embraced my age. I embraced who I was, and I just didn't care anymore. I wanted to be me, and I wanted to talk about the things I was interested in. And so that is kind of where I feel it kind of took off, and then where I am today.
Okay, that's interesting. So you were on YouTube 8 years ago, and let's pull it up so people can see how far you've come.
These videos are so crazy.
Yeah, there we go. 7 years ago, kind of like, old school YouTube, you know? So you were pretty consistent. Like when you uploaded then 5 years ago, was it just a hobby for you at the time?
Yeah, well, I knew I had a kind of a friend that was on the cutting edge of things that would happen in years to come. Okay. And I've always wanted to start a brand myself, which hopefully that will happen one day. I've always wanted to connect and be more of an authority. This person said to me like, hey, this YouTube thing is really going to be something that people look at, and same with social. So you need to get your numbers up. And that is, I took his advice.
Okay, that's great. And so then you were a makeup artist as you were doing your YouTube thing, right? That's kind of what you were doing at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you a makeup artist? You said you were here in Hollywood? Okay. Yeah. And were you working for a brand, or were you working, like, what were you doing?
No, I had an agency. Yeah, I was a red carpet makeup artist. So I would do press, junkets, things like that.
So it makes sense for you that you would do makeup on YouTube. Yeah. Well, it's just because there's a lot of people that start off thinking like, well, what can I do? I guess I'll do makeup. And then later on, they completely switch their niche. But for you, this was your career. This is what you do.
Yeah. And I felt like I was filling a hole at that time, that there weren't as many people that really did it for a living. So
yeah. So then 8 years ago, 7 years ago, but you said 5 years ago. Well, no, you said about 2 or 3 years ago is when you really felt. So what happened at that point? You said you embraced your age. Is that what you said? Or what happened at that point, and why do you think that's when your channel took off, or what were the circumstances surrounding that?
Sure. It's actually a really good question, and something that I think about very often is how this kind of started the momentum going. And for me, it's I had moved to Northern California for my husband's job. I had been under the pretenses that I could do what I do up there, and that just wasn't the truth. And I also was
meaning the red carpet makeup, not the YouTube.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Because I had been flying back and forth from San Francisco to Los Angeles every other week. My daughter was only 11 months old. So I just had to kind of call a spade and know that it was time to move forward in a different direction. Now, even to this day, I still do makeup. I'm still an active and working makeup artist. I'm also an esthetician, so I walk the walk as well. But at that time, again, I just had a brand new baby. I'm living in an area that I don't know, and I just wanted to throw myself into something that I could control. And I could control YouTube. I could control my posting schedule. I could control the content. And I sat one day and I kind of just had like a soul searching moment. And I said, well, what do you want this to be about? If this is what you're really going to do, what is it going to be about? And I just felt like the beauty community, and for the most part still does, forget about everybody at the age of 35 and older. And I felt that there was a lot of my friends and myself had a tendency to watch YouTube and watch all these younger, amazing people, but they're like 15, 20, 25, and that just didn't relate to me anymore. So I dug deep and I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing tips and tricks. I'm going to really break it down. I'm going to really give them these instructional videos that is actually going to help them in their daily lives. And I'm also going to embrace my age. So
that's great. Yeah. And so you said that was about 3 years ago. So let's kind of look at the how your channel transformed. So 6 years ago. And so it sounds like prior to that move to Northern California, you were uploading, but was it more of a hobby at that point, or were you serious about your YouTube channel at the time? Or would you say that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I didn't really know if I should be serious or not. I had a full-time career. I worked 40 to 50 hours a week, extremely busy. And I traveled. I was bi-coastal for 2.5 years. So I was 2 years in LA. 2 weeks in LA and 2 weeks in New York for a long time. And so I was doing all of this kind of in between. I knew it's something that I loved and that I resonated with. But I was just, again, I kind of felt like the views weren't there and I wasn't speaking to who I needed to speak to. So
yeah. Gosh, it's so crazy how, like, we'll go back to kind of your channel, but like how sometimes like certain life events just almost force you to like make these decisions. You know, it sounds like who knows what would have happened if you wouldn't have moved to Northern California. Like you might still be in that grind of working in the makeup world and all that. Like it's just crazy how that stuff happens.
Well, and the industry's changed so much in that aspect. So I am so grateful and thankful to have an outlet like YouTube.
Oh, okay. Okay. So at what point me where like the videos, and if you're on the if you're listening to the podcast, if you comment on YouTube, you can kind of see her thumbnails as we go through them. Where was it, would you say, that you made that switch?
Yeah. So basically what you're seeing here is like me trying out different things. So I'm like, what works, what sticks. So you can start seeing that I'm seeing like words for like mature skin, hooded eye tutorials, strobing, like that type of thing. I was trying to figure out what was working, but then I'm not quite sure exactly where. Maybe keep going down. There's a video that's called How to Look 10 Years Younger, and I don't really love that title, but it was just something that I had done that right there on the right-hand side that has 677,000 views.
Okay.
That's the video that really honestly started it all for me. And it just was, for me, and I talk about it in the video, for me, feeling younger and looking younger is actually something that you are inside, and but makeup is your tool, and it's my tool. Sometimes it's my armor, sometimes it's my best friend, sometimes, so that's kind of the tools I use to really make myself feel and look a little bit younger. So that's the video that's kind of started it all for me.
Yeah. Okay. So then at that point, what was your upload schedule like? And it sounds like you were still doing the makeup thing, but not as frequent.
Correct. And I still had an agent in San Francisco, so I was still doing advertising jobs in San Francisco during this time. And again, in this period after I'd made that video, and then kind of to this day, my daughter had an illness and I was out for a long time. So my schedule had always been like 3 times a week kind of. And then My daughter had her illness. We're working on her recovery, but then I decided to upload 4 to 5 times a week. And then that has been my schedule since, I would say, year and a half, maybe. Yeah, about a year and a half.
Wow, 4 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So are you doing everything yourself? Are you editing or do you outsourcing anything at all?
I'm a little bit of a control freak. I'm
Okay.
type A.
Okay.
I just is who I am. I'm very passionate about what gets put out there in the universe because I'm very passionate about the way I am perceived because I want it to be me. Now, I just outsourced a little bit of video editing about a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago. Not every video is edited by this gentleman, and I actually usually have to go back in and then add little touches and stuff. So yeah, I'm trying my best to outsource, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay. So then what would you say, how many hours a week are you dedicating to your YouTube channel?
It depends on what goes on in my life. Again, I'm an esthetician, so I got my esthetician's license about 5-6 years ago. So I'm working on opening up my skin clinic here in Denver. And of course, I still do makeup for personal clients. So I would say anywhere between 30 and 50 hours a week. It just depends. This past week, I haven't been uploading because my daughter and I were just in the hospital, that kind of stuff. So usually it's right between 30 to 40 hours a week. It's a full-time job.
Oh, yeah, of course it is. Yeah. So 4 to 5 videos. Do you say 4 to 5 videos a week? Or yeah. Okay. So that's a lot of content. That's a lot of information. So how are you finding all of these different video topics?
It's sometimes they come to me like just driving around.
Okay.
Sometimes it's maybe tips and tricks that need to be updated, especially stuff where I'll talk about a certain eye shape with a certain product and that product no longer is available, or I saw in the comments that something needed to be going into more in depth about. Honestly, it's just however they come to me. I also I have a Facebook group, and I source them and ask what their challenges are that day, maybe what products that they're using that they need help with. Is there a new product out that they want me to review? That kind of a thing. So I have my Facebook community is like my really tight squad members that really enable me to be able to do my job prep,
Yeah, it's interesting. You're like, I don't know, maybe like the third or fourth person I've interviewed so far in like the last couple of weeks who said that one of their best resources for them for video topics has been their Facebook group. So let's talk a little bit about that, because actually we haven't really dived deep in that in any of the other interviews. So why don't you tell me, like, when did you create that Facebook group and how many people do you have in your Facebook group?
I have about 1,200.
Okay.
And it's only less than a year old. I have a moderator who is my friend now.
Yeah.
And she has been asking me for a long time to do this Facebook group. And I'll just be very transparent. I don't love Facebook. I find it to not be like my kind of platform.
Yeah.
She's like, people want a place to communicate, about you, to share videos, topics, to have a sense of community. I'm really into positive women empowerment and lifting each other up. Negativity is not allowed, that kind of a thing. So I think they wanted a place that would be a safe place as well. So shout out to Marie if you're listening to this, but she basically was like, please make this Facebook group. And so we did. And it's been a really lovely, lovely place to be. So
yeah. So then you say that's really helpful when it comes to coming up with video ideas.
Absolutely. I'm in there every single day and just kind of scrolling through and making sure that nobody has any specific questions or whatever. I also do Skype consults with people. So if something comes up in that Skype consult, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to make a whole video on that because, that's something more people will want. I also ask my friends. I ask my mom. I'm just constantly trying to learn about what people want to know.
Yeah. So let's look at some of your recent videos, just because now I'm curious, like, oh yeah, what, cause it's a lot of videos, but, obviously it's your own, your unique perspective on different things, so it's like, let's see, best SPF for winter skin. Yeah, that's a good, best and worst newly launched foundations. I think I watched that one. Favorite and fails, Charlotte Tilbury. There is so much you can talk about, and I find it interesting. You kind of straddle between both skincare and makeup because you are an esthetician also.
Yeah, and I don't really, and not to be honest with you, a lot of people will do clickbait title, and I don't love that game. So I just try to do content that I really think that I would want to watch, and sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay.
Is there a video that you've done, say within the last, I don't know, 6 months maybe, that you were surprised that it did so well?
Yeah, go back up. I am extremely surprised that to be honest with you, that the Charlotte Tilbury video did as well as it did. I mean, I understand that people are interested in the brand, but it's been around for a really long time. I'm very interested in that. Why. And I think it's because I don't really ever talk about fails, to be honest. I like to keep my channel pretty light and airy-fairy and like, you know what I mean? I don't love to like down any brands and stuff. So maybe that was different for me because I'm not quite sure. But
I feel like Charlotte Tilbury for some reason is a brand that's been around a while, but recently like a lot more people are talking about it. And I don't know if it's just me and my channel and the videos I watch, but I literally get a Charlotte Tilbury ad almost at every single one of the videos that I watch. So I don't know. There's like a new ad she did for one of her foundations, like fabulous, flawless, flawless. And I'm like, and so now it's like Charlotte Tilbury is like front of mind. I'm like, maybe I should try that brand. So I don't know. You never know. Who knows why certain things. But
then the other video I would say is the one that it says like no one's ever talking about these. I thought that would just be for like my diehard squad members. Like, I had no idea that. So yeah, it's you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. And what about the opposite? Is there anything that you've done that you're like, oh, this is going to be a winner, and it just flopped?
Yeah, for sure. To be honest with you, the Surratt Beauty Dewdrop Foundation, I got question after question after question. This is a very like cult favorite brand.
Okay.
The creator has been talked about a lot. It's very well known. So that was interesting to me. Also, the Best of the Biosong. So that was interesting to me. So those two were like, huh.
Yeah, and sometimes though, have you ever found, has this ever happened to you that like you have a video that you think can do really well and it kind of flops, but then like 6 months later, all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, what happened to that? That like blew up.
Oh my gosh, I have a funny story. I have a hair video that I did when I had just had gray, and it's years ago. It's 5 years.
Is that's your daughter's name?
Now. Literally, it's
really?
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm like, people are like, oh, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, that was like 5 years ago. That one right there. How to 3 easy hair. I'm like, why that one?
Oh, that's interesting. That all of a sudden it just started blowing up.
Yeah, it's not a good thumbnail.
That's so weird. So when did it start? You uploaded that 4 years ago, and then when did it start blowing up?
About 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah,
that is so weird.
Crazy. I have no idea.
Did you look and see if maybe it's like being recommended against like other super popular videos? I did,
yeah, and it's in the but I don't know why that one, because I have so many other hair tutorials.
Yeah.
That the oldest one, I don't know, I thought it was funny. And then this darn at-home lash lift thing that was such a fun video has just blown up. I don't know why, but it's funny.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, and that's the thing with YouTube. Sometimes you just never know, you're just like,
never know. And that's why do what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, honestly, do what makes you happy, what fills your soul, and just forget about the rest. I mean, because if you're looking at this to make $1 million and be all the big people, that's going to drive you to do things that are just like everybody else, in my opinion. So,
and it's going to drive you to do things that are inauthentic to you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So take me through your process of thinking of an idea and then actually like going through with it. Do you pay attention to things like SEO, keywords, all that?
Yes and no. I definitely know my back end. I definitely watch kind of what thumbnails have worked, what keywords have been, working, how my traffic is coming into my channel. But that's relatively new for me. I mean, maybe within the last 3 months, I've been trying to do that just because I want to be a little bit more business savvy and start, instead of saying like, I don't know how any of that works, I want to know more about that. But when I go creatively, I don't care really about any of that. So I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do a video on, say, eyeliner, and I'm going to figure out if there's any new products that launch that I have that have been sent to me or that I've bought. And I'm going to think about like the 3 ways people can do it. And then I honestly just sit down and record it, and then I cut it. And then on the back end is when I'm like, okay, what are those keywords I need to use? Let's me figure out some, title ideas. I do try my best to figure out some good titles. I'm the worst at titles though, I will say.
So you do the titles and all that after you film the video?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Because sometimes I think I'm going in with one purpose, and then I go off on these tangents that I'm like, oh, this video is completely about something else.
Yeah. So then you're kind of like, well, now, yeah, I see what you're saying. Because I know a lot of people say they come up with the title and everything, even like the idea of the thumbnail before even filming the video.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of backwards that way.
Okay. And so you said that you've recently started spending more time in your back-end analytics. What are you paying attention to?
I try to pay attention to everything as a whole, but mine mainly is basically watch time. What's the stream of how I'm getting views to my my channel? So is it coming from recommended videos or other sources or Instagram, that type of a thing? Because I'm also trying to figure out my timing on other platforms. Like, are they worth so much of my time? Because if they're not driving any traffic, that type of a thing. I really rarely look at my subscriber count. Just gets you into this weird black hole. I rarely look into my advertising revenue type of thing. That for me is just, I have no control over that. So I have control over click-through rate and, watch time and things of that nature. So I really focus on things that I can personally control.
So, and like we like to kind of get into the nitty gritty here on the show. So when you're looking at like some of those metrics, so let's start with click-through rate. What is it that you're really looking for? Like, what are you ideally like hoping to see?
Well, my click-through rate for what I'm really using it for is to make sure that thumbnail is grabbing somebody's attention from the suggested videos. And that's really what it's about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Between, and I don't know, like 8. That's what I would like it to be, between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
And that for me is a win. So I'll know that either the metrics, the writing on the thumbnail was where it was supposed to be, or is it the background? And I've been really playing with that recently. Mm-hmm. It's hard to do them on makeup things where you're holding makeup because whatever. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to be between like 6 and 8. I mean, couple of mine recently have been like 9s. So something's different and then something's working there. So
can you remember like which ones have been doing a little bit better?
So the ones at the bottom here, which are the different backgrounds, they did really well on click-through rate, as well as the where to spend your money on the Charlotte Tilbury. So you can see I'm playing with different thumbnails fonts here to see what works. And then the best and worst that went really well as well. So I'm trying to figure out, is it the background, or is it the the money signal, or the text, or is it that there's pictures of each
product?
Yeah. So it's like a science. You kind of have to weave your way through.
You do. You kind of have to figure it out. I mean, that's the thing with thumbnails. Exactly what you said. It's like it's meant to grab a person's attention. It's meant to stop them and take like really the thumbnail is the stop. I mean, like a billboard or something that stops and grabs the person's attention, and then they go and read the title. So people will see the thumbnail before they see the title.
And since I don't film in a white room, I have to figure out how to grab their attention without having this vibrant thing behind me. Yeah,
because you could kind of see it in the background of your photos. It's kind of the color that blends in a little bit to your skin and your hair. And so it is interesting, like when you tried the color ones, it does pop a little bit, that orange one there.
Yeah. They take a really long time. So I'm looking for, this is my next thing to do, is looking for somebody that actually specializes in this to make thumbnails, see if that works too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like where are you creating your thumbnails? Like what software do you use?
Oh my gosh, what is it called? I just found it.
PicMonkey?
No, oh gosh, what is it called? Here, let me look on my phone. I just found it because I didn't know how to cut things out. I'm really not great in technology. I'll just be very, very honest. I'm not amazing.
Yeah.
PicZap, P-I-Z-A-P, PZap, I think is what it's called. And that's basically where you can make your layers as if you were using another type of program.
Photoshop. Okay.
And Photoshop. And then I actually go into Canva. And then that's where I put all of those together. So it's a multi kind of app process.
Yeah, I've heard that people spend multiple different apps just creating one thumbnail.
Yeah.
If they don't have, say, like a Photoshop or Adobe, something like that. So
and I really want to have that. I mean, it's another thing for me to learn.
I know. That's the thing. I'm not good at that stuff either. Yeah. And I know a lot of people that's one of the two things that I've seen from people or my clients that outsource, and I always tell them too, is like, okay, if you can outsource the editing, do that first, and then your thumbnails.
Yeah. Do you outsource for your thumbnails?
I'm going to, yeah. I'm testing out different people right now, and I'm going to kind of see what works for me, because I'm not good at that at all either. It's like that's the one thing I've learned from, running a business and stuff. I got to go where my strengths are, and because otherwise I would spend hours on something that could take somebody maybe like 20 minutes.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. And I don't want to spend the time learning it, because that's time that I can spend doing other things that I'm better suited for, that would get me farther. So it's something I've learned over time in running a business, to like let go of that and, either find people that you can train, because I'm very, very picky about things too. Like you said, I found that too when I brought people on board to do things, and then I'm going back there and like redoing their work. I'm like, oh, what's the point in this? And then I get frustrated. So it's a learning curve. Like bringing on a team comes with the territory of expanding your own business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But every good entrepreneur knows their strengths and knows where to outsource when they're not their strengths, because you have to be able to delegate.
You have to, if you're going to scale, if you're going to expand.
Yeah, if you're going to scale, you don't have to. Yeah, but if you want to make it a bigger thing, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so back to the analytics. So we were talking about your thumbnails. You like to say at least a 6 to 8%. What other numbers are you looking for, and what are those ranges?
Well, the watch time for me is I'm long-winded usually. And so my subscribers, in my opinion, are kind of a different type of YouTube watcher. Usually I feel that they resonate with my age, which I'm 40. We usually enjoy a longer format content that's going to really teach us something, a little more personality, a little more personability, that kind of thing. And so I have to figure out, during the videos, where am I losing people? And it's different for each video. So I wish I could give you like a standard thing, but it's different for each video. But I have noticed that which again takes me forever to edit these, but like if I do pop-ups and illustrations and call out tags and product names, throughout the whole video, my watch time is very much more lengthened when I do that. So most of my videos are at least 9 to 13 minutes. And when I do those intermediary like pop-ups, I have a lot more watch time, I guess I'll say.
Yeah. Do you watch the average view duration, like the percentage viewed?
Ish. I mean, yeah, because for me, I don't know. I sometimes if I go too deep, it makes me pretty discouraged, because why am I spending all of this time doing all of these things to have people drop off at 5 minutes when the video is 5 more minutes long? You know what I mean? So for me, I'll take a look at it and I'll see, kind of in that video, that format was X, Y, and Z. Where were they falling off at? Maybe when I do in the same video in that format, I'll add a pop-up there. But I try, analytics is hard for me, because I really think it's important, but I also don't want to get lost in it. And when people ask me about how to start a YouTube channel, I say it's very important, but it also can be very discouraging and almost debilitating sometimes, because you're like, man, this is not worth it.
Yeah, that's the thing with analytics. Like it is really important. You want to pay attention, but you also don't want it to rule your life and be so focused on it, because like you said, like it can be crippling. It could be like discouraging. And then when you're only focused on that, then you're not paying attention enough to your audience and your people and all that also.
Because like a lot of people say, when I've been mentored or counseled on a YouTube career, this has been many years ago, but they'd be like, okay, look at your highest viewed videos, and then create something just like that again. And I'm like, that is pointless. Like nobody Nobody needs 50 million videos on X, Y, and Z, in my opinion. So for me, I try to find a balance between what resonates with me, what's organic, and also to just making sure that this is a profitable career. But YouTube is not a right thing. It takes years and years and years.
Yeah, yeah. And so are you working with brands as well, like from like a sponsorship level? Do you work with sponsors for your channel?
Absolutely. I mean, I know that there's been a lot of conversation about sponsors lately, and I know that a lot of people don't want their, their gurus to be sponsored, and people like, well, I don't take any sponsorships, and I think that's amazing. And I don't want to be, catty in any way, because if you don't have to take sponsorships, then gosh, more power to you. And it's good. It's all good. But for me, this is a business, and I have always worked with brands. This is no different than when I was sponsored to do a red carpet or a press junket. I mean, this is just all the same for me. So taking sponsorships on my channel has never been an issue. I always disclose it several times, and I always make sure it's something that I wholeheartedly believe in. So yeah, so I thoroughly enjoy it, and I do.
How has so you mentioned that you kind of switched your niche a little bit to, what would you say your new niche is now? How would you articulate it?
Well, for me, it's honestly people that are above 30, 35. My hashtag is beauty over 30. And but I really cater to that market that are feeling left out, that are over the kind of saturated of the kind of overdone makeup looks, and really want something that actually is very wearable for them, and then actually somebody that can really teach them what to do. So that's somebody that actually has done it in their life. Okay. So I feel, in my opinion, I feel the niche that is that kind of more over 30 and an actual professional makeup artist and esthetician that can speak to them about it.
So do you feel that, so your channel is specifically for women over 30. How is, okay, so you kind of talked about this before, but how then is because the thing is with beauty in this day and age, like on YouTube, it is so saturated. And people would say like, oh yeah, there's still room. Yes, there's still room, because there's still people that come on board all the time and they're blowing up and taking off. So is that your main distinguishing factor, in the fact that it's over 30 and it's kind of more knowledge based, or like how do you really distinguish yourself amongst all the other videos out there? And there's even more people now, I would say, that are in their 30s and 40s on YouTube, because they've kind of grown up with YouTube. So absolutely. I mean, look at Tati. I think she's 37. Yeah. She's one of the biggest YouTubers. I mean, someone like Marlena from Makeup Geek, Candy Johnson, all these women. I think Candy Johnson's 40. I don't know how old Marlena is, but all these women are
a little bit younger than that. But yeah, I mean, your point is very, very valid.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I try to differentiate by me being me. I don't do a lot of fluff, in my opinion. Like I said, my subscribers are a little bit different than most, although I do share them with Tatis and a whole bunch of other things. But I really think that me coming from a place that is a professional, yes. Now I know that Candy Johnson was a makeup artist. I know Tati was as well. I know Marlena was as well. But none of them are active working makeup artists, and that I don't mean to be. That's totally fine. And if their careers led them that way, then that's amazing. Yeah. But I'm really in the weeds here, and this is what I do, and I don't only do YouTube. And so I feel that coming from a person that is actively doing it and that is a professional. I mean, so many people that are above the age of, I'll say 35, that are, YouTubers are not, I don't know. I'm trying not to, they're not professionals. They haven't been doing this for a really long time. Yeah. So I find that is something that I really distinguish myself against, and that I'm also just a regular person. Like I also share, if you've noticed on my channel, a lot more than most YouTubers. I've shared my journey with being in really bad depression and self-image, my daughter's epilepsy. So for me, I feel like I connect with my subscribers on a different level, and I want to show them all of it rather than just here's the makeup you should buy. And that's why I rarely ever do like your Sephora sale videos. Like, so I just come at it from a different standpoint, I feel.
Yeah, I remember that video. I think, where was it? It was the one where you were talking about, was it like a postpartum depression or something like that? That
Yeah,
postpartum.
when I was in a dark space. Yeah,
Yes. I don't know how long ago that was.
for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw that one. I was like, oh wow, like that's, it was completely not about makeup at all. And I did have some questions about that. Was that the first time you actually came out and talked about something unrelated
Yes.
to makeup on your channel?
Yeah, I got pulled. Like my gut just told me it was
Time to
time for me
find it.
to really start to communicate on a real level
Okay.
with my subscribers, and I was in a really bad place, and people could tell in my videos, and
Mm,
I didn't want to, kind of in that video I talk about that it frustrates me that especially people in the eye, I say celebrities and things like that, they're so, they're I'm grateful for them that they have all of these people helping them get back into shape and
yeah.
eat really well and have nannies and all of these amazing things which they are so blessed in life to have. But I was so tired of only hearing about that. Like I was tired of like seeing video pictures of everybody that's like perfectly looking, and I just had my baby 4 days ago and I'm fitting back into my jeans, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I was tired of being inundated by that information, and I was tired of feeling like I was alone. And so for me, it was cathartic, and I didn't even know if you could watch it, to be honest. I just started to put it on, and I just talked. I mean, it's a bunch of rambling, but I just wanted people to feel like they're not alone, and that this is not all what it's made up to be. It's really frustrating for me
Yeah.
that people only show this like,
Perfect side of them.
perfect, glittery, perfected side of life.
Especially motherhood, especially because it's,
Yeah.
being a mother myself, it's like there are like most days are like you're running around surviving. It does not look like how it is on Instagram, all perfect. And you do see some of these celebrities or reality stars, or even influencers that are like post baby and it's like a week later and they're in the bikini on the beach. I'm like, I could barely walk a week later. Like, what? Are you kidding me?
I had a C-section. Walk
Oh,
for
wow.
2 weeks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just, yeah. I mean, and I didn't stop after that. I have another video coming up this week on what's been going on with my daughter, and that's because she has epilepsy and nobody talks about it. And I want people to know that they're not alone, and it sucks and it's heartbreaking and it's horrible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even though you might think that it looks so perfect and all the pictures on Instagram, it's just not the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think more and more people are going in that, are understanding that. A lot of, influencers, people like yourself that are doing this YouTube thing, that authenticity is like so important. And if you're going to be on YouTube, it's not just about sharing the good and, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like the superficial fun stuff, which we all love. We all love makeup. We all love that.
Yeah,
That we love
yeah.
that. That's wonderful. But at the same time, if you like, almost it's like your responsibility as an influencer and the leader of this community that you built to be authentic and to share those moments.
Oh my gosh. Well, and yeah, because you get all these comments. Like if you really take the time to go through the comments that are either sent to you in an email or DM or underneath videos, I mean, people are really hurting, and they just want to be heard, and they just want to feel like they're like everybody else, and that their struggles are just as important as everybody else's struggles. And, like, oh, you look so beautiful. I wish I could have da 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 da. And you're like,
Yeah.
it's
If you only
it's
knew.
yeah, you know what I mean? So I just, so I was tired of seeing it myself. And so I decided to do that on my channel.
And how has that been received?
Wonderful, actually. I mean, I get comments daily from people on that video still, almost a year and a half later, I think, that are just like, thank you so much. I needed this today. I watched this again because I was feeling down again. This is my third or fourth time watching it. So I feel really grateful that I can help with that. I mean, I have people with my daughter's epilepsy video that are like, I'm so thankful you're talking about this. Oh my gosh, I just met this amazing woman who lives in Colorado. Her son also has epilepsy, but she hasn't watched me. Her friend forwarded her my video and said, hey, I hope this helps you. This girl's also struggling as well. And then we just kind of linked up. So like, amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the power. That's the good power of, social media.
There's so much good that, when people, good at heart. They're on there, they're on social, they're doing things. They have then the power to change lives. I mean, that's the reason why I do what I'm doing is I share these stories to inspire women out there to get out there to make an impact. And I say, make the world a better place, one video at a time.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think it's so important because especially whenever you get into this demographic of this 35, 40, 45, I mean, you could have a whole separate life by this time. And people are in their second stage of life and they want a new start maybe, and they're trying to pick themselves up and do different things. And like, dude, go for it. I'm always the believer that there's enough room for everybody to do anything you want in this world. And there are enough clients, there are enough subscribers, there are enough watchers. Just got to be authentic.
I totally agree. And I think that's such a good lesson. That's such a good lesson for people. Okay, so we're nearing the last part of the interview. And this section, I call it the Power Hour segment. And I basically ask you the same questions that I ask other people that have been on the show. So, and you just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. So what would you do differently if you were to start over today with your YouTube channel?
Be real from the start.
So yeah. Did you feel you weren't real at the start?
I was always me, but I was chasing after what other people were doing. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to do, maybe this person had just done this video and they got a lot of views, so I'm going to do my rendition of it. That kind of a thing. So for me, I would have just been authentic from the start, like just shut everything else out and just talked about what I wanted to do.
Got it. That's good advice. What are you most proud of when it comes to your channel?
To be honest with you, I feel that I can help one person every single day. And that's one of the reasons why I started my channel, was if I could help one person every single day, then I was doing a good job. And to have these amazing people that they've called themselves Elle Squad. We have hashtag Elle Squad. And they have built their own community of supportive women that believe and trust and support and lift one another up. And if I could start that and be the catalyst of that, man, it's done. That's what I set out to do.
Yeah, that's great. What do you see as the future of YouTube and also like the beauty community?
It could really go two ways. I mean, if the beauty community would really kind of open up their eyes and see that there's a whole, I'm really passionate about this demographic being really left out of, especially social posts. Like no brand like reposts any of our looks. I mean, Angie from Hot and Flashy, gorgeous woman. I believe she's over 50 years old. Huge platform, and no, I don't think she gets enough support. I mean, I have a lot of girlfriends in the same boat, and so I hope that they go that way. I'll set out positivity in that by saying that I hope that the YouTube and beauty communities really support all ages, all ethnicities, all sexual orientation. I hope that it becomes a little bit more inclusive, because we are talking about beauty here. Okay, we're not talking about products. We're talking about making people feel empowered, lifted up, strengthened, and that's what they're there to do. Yes, they're there to sell products, but you really need to be selling that these tools and these products and that are tools for these people to do what they want and enable them to live a life that is fantastic.
So you're saying actually a lot of it starts with but a lot of it does have to do with like the brands that are kind of working in this way.
I think so, for sure. I mean, I hope that they all step up. Go cruelty-free. It's unacceptable nowadays, in my opinion. I'm just going to come out there and say it. My channel is going cruelty-free in 2020, and that's a huge deal because it really takes off a lot of brands from that. But I'm like, you know what? Acceptable. And it's unacceptable to leave out the age demographic that actually has disposable income to buy your products. Yeah. I love the beauty industry. I've been in it since I was very, very young. And so I hope that they follow suit and start being a little more inclusive.
Are there any beauty brands that you think are doing it right? Like that you see and you're like, oh yeah.
Yes, for sure. Honestly, Charlotte Tilbury is one of the only brands out there that shows the most beautiful women in all ages, and they're just gorgeous and they're unretouched. I think she's doing a fantastic job of doing that. Kosas Beauty also. Who else do I think is doing a fantastic job? Tatcha's been doing a really nice job. They're a skincare brand. I think that they've been doing really well, but not a lot of cosmetic brands. Like really not.
Yeah.
I think Charlotte's one of the only ones I can really think of.
That include women of all ages in their advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, women in their 60s and 70s. Like,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, these are all women that are wearing the products. And like you said, they're buying them. They've got the disposable income. Yeah.
And they want to feel cool and be represented. You know, how's that foundation going to look on my skin?
Yeah.
That if I'm 60, you know, 70, 80.
So I have heard from some people, because I have a boot camp for women, a YouTube beauty boot camp, and I have people in there of all ages. I have women that are over 50 doing the YouTube thing, and one of the things that I've heard is like it's harder for that demographic. I know I have listeners because there's not as many of those people watching and all that. What are your thoughts? What would be your response to that?
100%. I mean, I feel like I do, and it's not a woe is me. It's just the truth. I have a lot of girlfriends and acquaintances that do YouTube as well, and they find it to be really hard because they're not supported. Like after, even if they have PR sent to them, that the brand won't, like they might retweet something or that type of thing, but they're not featuring your look on their Instagram or something like that. So I do think it's hard because you can get to it very, really nicely by really hard work and trying to figure out your demographic and really think about what your niche is and, all those things. But it also takes support from other people. So, you support different brands for different reasons, whether they've had a sponsorship or they've sent you product or you bought it yourself and you think it's just amazing. But, it'd be nice to have it reciprocated as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what about the argument that there's just not that many of those people watching YouTube? Do you find that to be the case?
I don't know if I find it to be the case or if there isn't enough representation. They're really hard to find because honestly, we're not the ones that are on the featured page or, that kind of thing, or the trending page. So if you're just coming onto YouTube and not really knowing who to look for in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, you might go to that page and think like, oh, none of these people represent me. None of these people like me. So yeah, I think that that's a combination of both. And I also think that demographic too didn't grow up with this. So
yeah, it's new.
Getting over there is a challenge for sure. I think it's kind of trifolded.
I did read some statistic recently that said that the fastest growing group of new people coming onto YouTube as viewers is like the over 50 crowd. So.
And I think that I read something very similar as well. These people, they want to be part of the know.
They do, yeah.
Want it. I'm a part of that. So, we want to be a part of the know. We enjoy watching YouTube and learning about makeup and skincare and whatever, if you're fashion or, lifestyle, food, all of those things. And I just don't know if it's just kind of reprogramming your brain because you didn't grow up like, glued to a computer.
What would you say is your demographic, like women in their 30s and 40s, or what would be kind of your specific demographic?
My demographic is really 35 to 55, 35 to 55 on my like YouTube and my Instagram and stuff. That's really where the largest of my subscribers are and followers are.
Yeah, got it. What would you say is the biggest mistake you've made on your YouTube channel?
That's a hard one. Honestly, if I'm going to say, like, I just don't play the game. Like, if I could probably have grown a lot more if I played the game. And I never did it in makeup. I never did it with my agent. I just don't. It's just not. It's not me. So I mean, like, I could do every Sephora. Like, okay, it's Sephora's sale. Let's do another video because those are really highly viewed because they want to know. But for me, it encourages over consumerism, and you probably don't need 5 million new palettes and that kind of thing. So I'll do it every once in a while. But like for the holidays, I would do it, which is the one coming up soon. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. For me, I think it's just not playing the game. And that was just a personal choice.
That's what I was going to ask you. What do you mean specifically by playing the game? Is it just going for those trendy?
Yeah, like, what is it? What's this hot, video going to be out this month, which is going to be, okay, Sephora Rouge sale or the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty or, drugs, whatever drugstores having a sale or, okay, so somebody, maybe Tati made this or I don't even know, Laura Lee made a video about going to, the dollar store for her makeup like that. You know what I mean? Like just kind of really following this model model and then click fake titles and that kind of a thing. It's just, or talking about drama and things of that nature, because a lot of makeup gurus actually are now talking about drama and kind of getting in things and sharing their opinions. So, that's all watchable, and people want to see that sometimes.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
What would you say is the best opportunity you've received as a result of your YouTube channel?
Well, I mean, hopefully I'll have some stuff's in the works right now for next year, which I'm really excited about. And, but I honestly, working with brands that I hadn't had a chance to work with, and I'll be honest, Tatcha is a brand that I've always wanted to work with because I've used their skincare, and they recently, over the past couple of years, have brought me in to do some videos for them. So I worked with Benefit. So those, for me, that has been an amazing accomplishment. But also, I get emails every single day from people that say that I've inspired them to do better or take better care of themselves or go to counseling or whatever that is. So I pride myself that is also an accomplishment from.
That's great. I mean, I think that's also promising when you said, you are getting opportunities with brands like Benefit or like Tatcha, who you mentioned earlier, to do videos for them and things like that. Because that means that these brands are hopefully bringing in influencers of all ages, not just women under 30, but women over 30, 35, and 40 to kind of represent that.
Absolutely.
So what would you say is your unfair advantage or your superpower? Meaning, what is it about you that comes naturally to you that has contributed to your success on YouTube?
Superpower. I don't know. I'm pretty direct, and I'm pretty confident in what I have done. So I think my confidence is a superpower, in my opinion, especially in this arena. I'm not super confident in all arenas, but this is something I know what I'm talking about. And so I think that might be that.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it works. It's been working, obviously. Well, Elle, thank you so much for coming on the show and just sharing your insight and your perspective. I think it's really, really amazing. And so for the people listening or watching here on YouTube who want to kind of find more about you and follow you, where can they go?
Oh, there's several places. Obviously on YouTube, I am Elle Leary Artistry. And then you can also find me on my website, which is elleleary.com, and hardwarebeauty.com. I actually launched my own vegan brush rolls last year. So you can find those there, hardwarebeauty.com.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, if you want to talk a little bit about that real briefly, because I actually had this and I forgot. So how did that come about, your hardware, your brush line?
There's some stuff hopefully coming in the pipeline next year. My best friend and client, Holland Roden, I don't know if you know who she is, but she is a celebrity, and she and I are working together on a brand called Hardware Beauty. It's a beauty tools and accessories line. And I launched my brush rolls several years ago. They're vegan, handmade brush rolls that hold palettes and your brushes and skincare or whatever you want to put on them. They come in different sizes. And but anyway, so I launched that, and she's kind of come in to create a few other things that hopefully will be coming down the pipeline as we look for investors.
Cool. Well, amazing. Well, congrats to that.
Thank you.
And for those of you guys watching or listening, come here to YouTube and comment on this video and let us know what you think.
Yes.
Let Elle know, what you got out of it, some of the things that she talked about, like being somebody 40 or, in your late 30s or whatever, and wanting to be more represented on YouTube and exposing kind of your personal side. What did you guys think about that? Comment below. And well, thank you so much, Elle. Thank you for coming on.
I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Bye. You too.
Bye.